Welcome to Envision Radio from the United Way of Greater Charlottesville and City of Promise and News Radio 98.9 and 1070 AM WINA. And brought to you by the Jefferson School Foundation with Markiana and Price, coming to you here in the studio from downtown Charlottesville. Happy whatever day it is.
It's the end of July. It's almost August.
I saw a calendar today that didn't have the 31st on it, and it made me super confused. I was like, yeah, it was misprint. It was a misprint. I said, dang, oh no, is it the 1st of August? I can't even get my days straight.
Yeah, it's almost back to school time.
Blessed to be here on the August 1st or whatever day it is.
Fake August 1st.
Fake August 1st. Today I am thrilled to be joined by Kristina Smith, the Executive Director of Georgia's Friends, a certified and registered peer recovery specialist, and a self-proclaimed lover of systems engineering.
I didn't know that.
Oh, what?
A lover of systems engineering.
A self-proclaimed lover of systems engineering.
She said she loves systems engineering in her bio.
That is the headiest self-proclamation. I like that. That's okay.
I don't even know what systems engineering is.
I didn't know that was about to make the cut, though.
That's in there.
I always say one. I always get something from the body, and they're like, no one's going to say that, right? Oh, you wrote it. So I'm going to say it.
It's all good. We here.
I don't know what is systems engineering?
So it's a specific type of engineering that looks at like large systems and figures out how to make sure they're more sustainable.
Oh, okay.
And they run more efficiently and that type of thing. So it just looks at the large scale. A lot of case studies. I remember one of my first case studies was writing about how whoever created plastic didn't think about how it would never go away. That was one. Yeah. So I love that. Like
that's like the atomic. Systems. It's like atomic bombs of regular household items. It's like, I didn't know this would be so evil.
That's right. Yep.
But we love a little Tupperware set. People were selling Tupperware sets. Your mama was selling Tupperware sets. You couldn't come to your house without 6 Tupperware sets. That is so sustainable. They was like, y'all don't gotta use styrofoam plates no more. We're gonna use Tupperware. But you got 30 Tupperwares. Mm-hmm. So that's like,
yeah. People have a bunch of Tupperware, don't they?
Still to this day.
How are you packaging stuff?
Aluminum foil.
Yeah. Yeah, just put that spaghetti in a little aluminum foil and shove it back in the drawer there.
No, it's the sandwich bags.
Yeah. Oh, true.
I love a gallon bag.
True. Yeah. Isn't that still plastic, though?
It is.
That doesn't solve our problem. It doesn't solve our plastic
but
issue.
it's okay because one thing I tell people all the time is that people of color are the best sustainability institutors in our life because you ain't never seen them throw away a plastic bag. You ain't never seen them throw away a grocery bag. My mama got grocery bags that is older than me at the house. So we are doing our part for sustainability. So shout out to us.
All right. Very good. Kristina, talk a little. Let's we'll go backwards to go forward. So tell us a little bit about where you're from, and then we'll find out how you got here, and then we'll keep it pushing.
Perfect. So, I actually grew up in a little small town called Schuyler.
Yeah,
you blink, you miss it.
Yeah.
It's like halfway between Charlottesville and Lynchburg. So it's a real small town. I went to school at Monticello High School.
Oh, did you really?
Okay.
That counts.
Mustangs?
Yeah.
Mustangs.
Okay,
My
Coach.
mom opened that school.
I was about to say Coach Price Thomas.
There you go.
Man.
That's all right. That's the one.
Listen, I love her. My niece loves her. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
She's great.
She's been around.
Your mom coaches something? Used to coach stuff too?
She was a cheerleading coach for 40 years.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. You seem like you could be.
Small town.
You should have done some cheerleading.
Me?
Yeah, you should have been a base.
Who was I holding?
The girls. I don't know.
I was 140 pounds.
Oh, okay.
At age 20. Like, yeah, right. Like, who am I lifting above my head?
That'd be fun.
It would have been fun.
Well, shout out to Mama Price.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
right.
She's great. So, and I stayed local just because I raised my niece. So I never wanted to stay in Charlottesville. I actually was like, had all these big dreams.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to move away and have all these different things. No, that wasn't what happened. My niece was born when I was 13. So she's now 22.
Okay.
So she's been with me since I moved out on my own.
Wow.
And that just kind of put me in a position where I wanted to make sure she stayed close.
Okay.
To maintain.
Is she around? Is she around now?
Mm-hmm. Yep, she's a CNA.
Oh, that's great.
And determining whether she wants to stay in nursing or not.
Okay.
But she likes it for right now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So what was the plan, right? And I think a lot of us who grew up here sort of had a similar thing, right? It's like, all right, we're gonna go somewhere.
Everybody want to get out. So it's time to get out.
What was your somewhere?
My somewhere, I mean, it could have been D.C. It could have been across the country, like to California.
Did you want to go to a big city?
I did.
Okay.
I was a little nervous because I came from a little small Schuyler. You know what I mean? Like, my dad always used to tell me, like, somebody's going to just get over on you because you're such a small town girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go to the city, people going to take advantage of you.
Right.
Small town people can't get nothing. Like they go, the big city, big scammers. I'm like, okay, I think I got a little smart. I got street smarts. I got country smarts.
That's right.
What are country smarts?
I don't know. You can count the number of cows in the field with your eyes closed. I don't know what country smarts are, but we know we got it.
Okay.
We can make it in a big
I
city.
think there's a level of bravery in country living. Like,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? You be out there with no shoes on, man.
So y'all-
Like, not worried
Out there
about
pulling
what's
snakes out of the brush and stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Not me, but somebody.
So yeah, that was my dream, my vision. Like I said, I started in engineering, honestly. The challenges there, besides, literally I was the only woman of color.
Sure.
Like, period.
And that's still probably pretty typical.
In systems,
yeah.
And I
Most
got
fields.
tired of just fighting for my voice to be heard at tables, group projects, and I was just like, I don't know, do I want to go to work and do this every day to fight this hard to be heard? So I decided, and also with my niece, you know, they were typically, engineering students were typically like traditional students. You know, they didn't have responsibilities of like a child. And so when they're doing group meetings and stuff, I wasn't able to make that work. So I transitioned over to education. Big part is because then when she's out of school, I'm out of school. You know, I don't have to stress about childcare and all the things. So that's where I found my love for like helping at-risk populations. I started doing like math intervention work at the local middle school here in Charlottesville. At the time it was called Jewett. I think it's called Journey.
They changed the names like they changed Underwood.
Listen, I'm trying to keep up, but I'm not in the field anymore. So I think that's what it's called. So yeah, and I did that for a while. I appreciated it, and I also worked at a group home, Stars. I worked for Stars for a while, and really appreciated working with like foster care. And then I found myself working with these youth who like. I was still sending them home to broken homes, you know, so you can have all of a safe classroom, all of a safe group home, you know what I'm saying, that you want. But when they go back to parents who don't know or can't even afford to do X, Y, and Z, whatever it is, right, whatever barriers and challenges they're navigating. So then I was like, I kind of want to work with the parents. So then I started working as like a parent coach and child specialist. I work for a nonprofit here doing that work and supervised visitations. And what I noticed was a lot of parents were struggling with substance use disorder. And a lot of them wouldn't say they had a problem because they knew the minute they did, they'd be drug tested and their kids would be taken from them.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay. And then it became more personal. I had my godbrother pass from an overdose in 2020. And so it just really projected me into this field 100%. So now that's where my passion is, working with individuals, figuring out how to support them in a different capacity. I also was tired of like, when I was doing parent coaching and stuff, the amount of fight I had to fight for like Black fathers was crazy to me.
How do you mean?
The court systems and stuff, I just felt like there were so many more loops and hoops that they had to jump through, and I had to help. And gratefully, like, I saw some success stories based off of my efforts, and obviously their buy-in and their commitment too. But I think I just got tired of fighting that system too.
Burnout is something that people don't talk about.
And they don't talk about it.
And I don't know if you can really feel it in that like that moment. You just like, I'm tired.
Listen.
Yeah.
Listen. And you feel so guilty even being tired, because then you feel like you're walking out on the individuals you serve, you know what I mean? Or who's now going to step up to the plate and support these fathers, you know, but it just was a lot. So anyway, that's my trajectory professionally and how I landed where I am.
How did you get to Georgia's Friends?
So based off of working, I used to refer women to Georgia's Friends, actually.
Wow.
The challenge
That's how networking works.
Yep. The challenge, though, was women didn't want to go there because at the time we had a no nicotine policy. So they would tell me, I'm not going there when I can't smoke my cigarettes. Like, I done gave up all these other drugs, and you want me to also give up my cigarettes? And so I remember thinking in that moment, I was like, they need to do something with that policy.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So you referred yourself. You said, I'm going to refer I would like to refer myself for a job. I'm referring myself for a job if I can help y'all out over here. I've been referring people.
When it came open, I was like, and actually what happened, I transitioned back to the classroom for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
For like 4 months, and I realized, I was like, you know what, I don't want to go back to education. Like,
Were you teaching? What grade were you teaching?
So typically I stayed in the middle school range.
Oh.
And so I was like, man, I don't think I got the patience anymore.
Yeah, listen.
You do lose patience.
Man, you do.
Middle schoolers too? Nah.
I was either middle or high school. That was all I could work with. Even when I mentored kids, I was like, I can't do.
You don't want to do no.
You don't want to do little kids?
Little kids?
No.
Really?
That seemed like the spot to be in.
No. Not for me. No. That makes me anxious just thinking about it.
Really?
Yeah.
What's anxious? What makes you
That's
anxious?
so interesting.
Because they're teeny?
Because they're
No,
teeny.
it's like, I think the way I've mentored and supported youth has always been from a space of relatability based off of my childhood, my growing up. And so to be able to have those tough conversations and empower them through like my lived experience,
Yeah.
I appreciated that. You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
But
sure.
running after a 5-year-old who ain't really,
He ain't gonna remember none of this.
No. Miss me with that.
He ain't gonna remember kicking you in the shins.
Yeah,
Listen,
there's a lot of shin kicking.
Mad because I didn't give him gummy bears because his mama said he ain't
You
supposed to have sugar.
I'm trying to help your situation. He said, I don't care. Boom, kicked you. You ain't want to give me my candy.
Yep. Okay, so you, when did you take over at Georgia Strong's?
So I started there in 2023 as a program manager.
Okay.
And then I was doing the program manager and program director roles essentially together.
Okay.
But it was too much. And so I worked with the organization to identify that there was a need for 2 staff.
Yeah.
So then I became the program director and hired a program manager. And then from there, the executive director was going into partial retirement.
Okay.
And here we are. So I've been the executive director since June 23rd. So pretty recent.
So your year, you got the year under your 2 years.
No, I've been
I
there.
thought you meant June of 23.
No,
You mean June 23rd of this year,
Yes,
like a
I'm
month
fresh.
ago.
45,
She
maybe
said,
45 days ago.
I was trying to do the math.
I thought you meant June of
I was trying to do his
23.
math.
Okay,
I was
okay.
like 45 days, 365, June 2024. I said, I don't understand where we are in time. He's saying it was last year. So
I thought so. The whole time I thought you were talking about June
yes.
of 23.
I knew you meant 45 days ago, but I was confused.
45 days
Okay,
ago.
good. So you just let me do that.
Well, I was
you
confused. I was like,
you weren't like, no, the
I was
23rd,
like, okay, like,
the
no,
23rd date. First of all, you told me it was August 1st. I don't want to hear anything about a calendar from you. Don't do that to me.
Let me get out of here before this time warp start happening to me too.
Yeah, it's seeping its way in. So yeah, you're gonna forget
But
what day
doesn't
it
it
is.
feel like your year anniversary is here?
Man, listen. 45, well, it hasn't really officially been 45, but this first 30 plus days has been interesting.
How so?
We're a small nonprofit, so we don't have a lot of I feel like there are pieces of a small nonprofit that people don't really understand. You have to really know a lot about a lot, and so it's been kind of like taking water from a water hose, a fire hose at this point, and it's okay. It's just really trying to make sure we're in a growing stage. So we're about to hit our 10-year anniversary. Super pumped about that.
Yeah.
Congrats.
But it's just like now we're going into this chapter and like, how do we start moving the way our staff thinks, the way, everything, the sustainability of the organization to the next level. And it just takes a different level of like compliance and thought process. And so there's been a lot that I've realized like, we really have been a small organization. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
You said there was only 2 of you, right? At one point?
So it was 3 staff when I first started there. Myself, some type of operations or administrative, and then the ED.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And where are you now?
We're at 4.
Okay.
And we have a contracted position coming in September.
Okay.
You didn't triple the staff in 45 days. That's what I'm talking about.
So, I mean, how have you found it moving in an organization from someone who was working there to now someone who is in charge of the working there, right? I mean, like, was that? Let me ask you this, because we've talked about this a lot.
We talk about this a lot.
We've talked about it even in the context of you, of like, is that something you wanted to do, or was it just the next step, right? Because there are a lot of people who are really good at their jobs, and we always are like, okay, cool, if you're good at the thing, then you become the manager of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereby some people are like, I don't want to do that. I want to keep doing my thing really well. I don't want to do all this other stuff. Was that you, or are you sort of energized by now having to do more of the, I think what you said is really interesting. Like, you have to know a lot about a lot of stuff, but as that place grows, you'll find that you can't know everything about everything.
It's the truth.
Right?
Yep.
And so, I mean, are you feeling that stretch already where you're like, there's some stuff that you can't pay attention to because now you've got all this other layer of responsibilities that you have to uphold?
Yeah, I think so. At first, I was like, all right, this is a safe space. I'm going to just be real. All right, so I think the biggest thing for me was I was really good at programming. Great.
That's usually the case,
right?
You're right.
I was so great.
The best programmer gonna get to the top.
Yeah.
I don't know that I wanted to let that go. The challenge, though, was, I'm gonna just be honest. I had a couple people say to me directly, "Well, you're really good at this, so maybe that's where you should stay."
Yeah.
No, you're not gonna box me in. So I took that as a challenge.
Oh,
Interesting.
That is interesting.
I took that as like, just because I'm good at this doesn't mean I can't be good at other things.
Okay.
Sure.
Right? So then it started, like, my brain started playing with me like, do you want the job? Do you want to do it? Like, now it's definitely very different. Like, sitting with donors, and there's a piece of it that's really, I'm grateful because I can really speak to the program in such a different level because I've been there.
You got passion for it. You used to be a programmer.
Right.
You used to be the person on the front line.
That's right. However, it's very different, right?
Very different.
It's very different. And so navigating like the that is very interesting. So I think it was a bit of both. Like, I do appreciate, and so I'm that person who like wants to, because that's a systems engineering in me.
Okay.
I want to make it a better place.
Okay, sure.
So I started, the program is rocking and rolling, and then I got to this next level, and I'm like, oh gosh, the organization needs,
Yeah, a restructuring.
yeah, needs some more restructuring and needs some support there. So I think that part of me was okay.
Okay.
But I mean, I am passionate about the women. I loved what I've done, so yeah.
Yeah.
Did that answer it?
Yeah, I'm just always curious in sort of the way we perceive like work and career paths, right?
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
in the way that we set a lot of our systems up, the only path forward is to do less of what you're good at and manage people doing the thing that you're good at,
Yeah.
right?
Man,
So,
woo.
and
that's
Yeah.
tough.
It
well,
is
and it's
tough.
just weird, right? Because they're two
Like, let
very,
me go back
very
there and
different
then
skill
start
sets.
doing a little programming.
Yeah, well, they're two different skill sets, right?
Yeah.
Like being
Correct.
able to be. I tell the story about a good friend of mine who's an incredible graphic designer. She's brilliant. She does not want to deal with people, right? But her career path has been like, now you manage the team of graphic designers, which means she's doing less of the exact thing that got her promoted in the first place, right?
Correct.
So I
Yeah.
think there's a little bit of weirdness there as we conceptualize the way that we build organizations. Is like we pull people out of their strength because of the strength and put them into places that they're not as good at, And so I think about this often of like, how do we build capacity in people and promote, whatever you want to call it, people in doing what they're good at. And this is not sort of this is not saying people can't build capacity in other places, but you will find that like the person who's really good at working with moms, who's really good in the community, might not be the best at managing 8 people. But we should offer them some opportunity to grow in that field.
They have to do.
Because they have to
move
do
up.
that.
They have to.
That's
There's
like
no-
the right. So I guess is that a thing when you talk about organizational architecture? Like, how do you think about that, right? Like, let's say there's a you. Like, wow, this person's really good at building these programs. She's got a great eye and great instincts. Her only path forward traditionally would be to be the manager. But what if she's like, I don't want to do that. Like, I love what I'm doing. Just pay me more for that. And we're like, nah, you got to manage all these other people.
It's called moving on up. Mr.
Right?
Jefferson's in here.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I think that's so weird. And I think it's weird in our business in particular because you lose the exact thing that made it work.
That's correct.
In a
That's
very
correct.
relational, I mean, you're in the people business. I'm in the people business. Once you lose that when you take the person out of it.
I think it's all perspective sometimes too, right? So in my specific realm, what I've always done is developed individuals anyway.
Okay.
So I just reapply those skill sets in a different capacity. So now I'm redeveloping my team instead of working with the women to strengthen and empower them. Now I find ways to do that for my team.
Okay.
So I think it's all about shifting for me. I think that works for me because the way my career has transpired. That's not going to be everyone's story. And I also think like, and I put this in some of my notes thinking about the questions for today. Like, it's just important to acknowledge that everywhere you've been in life typically is preparing you for where you're about to go. And so like, I used to get real frustrated because I used to work, like I'm faith-based, and so I worked a lot with local churches doing bookkeeping work, but it would only be like 10 hours a week. And I used to get so frustrated with myself. I'd be like, why are you doing it? Like, this is 10 hours a week. Like, it's a waste of my time in my mind, right? But now I'm grateful that I've done bookkeeping, right? Because now when I step into this role, I'm not as much in like human services and direct support. It's more like managing a whole budget. I've done that, right? And so I think just capitalizing on the things you can in life. My dad always used to say, like, he was like, don't just be good at a lot of things and not great at one thing. I had to make sure I got it right. And so in that, what he was trying to tell me was not to pigeonhole myself, right?
Like a jack of all trades.
Correct. And so if you do that, you're able to create space that now you know enough about everything, right? It doesn't mean you know everything about everything, but you have enough.
You know a little bit about everything.
Right, so that you can move yourself forward. And so I found value in that, and I think that's what I've done in my life is figuring out ways to learn different things. And just thinking about like how my journey led me here. I used to publicly speak in church at a very young age, and I used to get so mad. I used to be like, stop doing that, Dad. But now it's like I can go somewhere and stand and talk, and I'm not like sweating through my shirt. You know what I mean? Sure. So I think it's just different. People have different experiences, but for me, I think everything has led us to this point.
Everything's moving up is what you was always destined to do based off of all the things that's in your past.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling.
You know, that jack of all trades quote is interesting.
I know. Is it another part to it?
There's
it's like the curiosity. It's like the curiosity killed the cat, but the answers brought it back. But we don't ever say the second part.
Is that really the second part?
Yes, curiosity killed the cat, but something confirmation brought it back. But there's a second part to that. People never say the second part. It's like, don't be curious. That could kill you. But the second part is
satisfaction.
Satisfaction. I was going to say it's a word that I'm forgetting. But it means them being curious led to an answer that gave them satisfaction. So people don't. It's only the first part to scare you, but not the second part that gave you information to learn.
Interesting. So the jack of all trades is one that's the same. Jack of all trades is a master of none, which is where we sort of end that one, right?
Yeah.
And the back half is, but oftentimes better than a master of none. Or sorry, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one.
Right. So they're only cutting the first half because that seems detrimental. But the second part, in fact, informs the first part and to say, actually, that's the thing you're supposed to be doing.
Which is what I was just explaining.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah.
I'm like,
we're agreeing with you.
Let me make sure
no. Your dad read the whole quote.
I got it. Thank you, Dad.
I mean, I think it sort of tracks with the zeitgeist, though, right? I mean, if you think about the way sort of the experience of work, certainly for our parents' generation, is very much you do a job.
Oh, yes.
And you do a job. That's what you do, right? So you could argue that sort of the social ramifications of building capacity were minimized because the goal was for you to do a job, right? I think we in our era conceptualize work very differently, and so you would argue that a lot of people either, and this is a very sort of liberal arts thing, right? We're going to teach you how to think. We're going to teach you how to blah blah blah. And you have these different eras where like 15 years ago, you have all these people. I know people who graduated from William & Mary with like degrees in medieval literature and all kind of weird stuff. Right? And they're brilliant, right? But they couldn't get jobs, and now things change, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just interesting to sort of the linguistics of like the zeitgeist and how they map to the point where we were like, be a systems engineer. You will always have a job. Be a software engineer. You will always have a job. Don't be this sort of hyper liberal artsy, like, oh, you're a thinker and you're like, right? But
painter
we're seeing a different era now where we're like, oh, computers can do that. What they can't do is sort of solve these human problems. What they can't do is, right? So we're sort of, the tide's kind of shifting in the other direction now where you have this sort of resurgence in all these liberal arts people that were like, oh, I understand organizational behavior. I don't know how to build a website, but ChatGPT can do that. It can't do that. So there's this, there's just an interesting kind of, the way those things work linguistically. And I also need to make sure I don't forget to say, if you're just joining us, this is Envision Radio from the United Way of Greater Charlottesville and City of Promise. News Radio 98.9, 1070 AM WINA. Price and Markey are here. What are we doing here today? I don't know, hanging out on fake August 1st?
Hanging out down the street. Same old thing.
Wow.
We did last week.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's from.
What show is that from?
I have no clue.
Not a thing to do.
Oh, keep going.
But talk to you.
We're all right. Is that 70s show?
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know where that's from.
Wow.
No, it is. No,
is
it is.
It?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's a crazy pull from you. By the way, big thanks to our sponsor from the Jefferson School Foundation, proud owner of the Jefferson School City Center, where education, innovation, and community engagement come together to build a brighter future dedicated to preserving and sustaining the historic Jefferson School, jeffersonschoolfoundation.org. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to, we stay in Charlottesville and we're here. Your career path to Georgia's Friends. Before you started there. When did you sort of dip from the engineering world, or when did you? And I know you told a little bit of that story about your niece and about that experience. Was that gradual? Was it like it wasn't?
I graduated. I finished my associates in engineering.
Okay.
And then
so what were you going to do? What does that mean? Like, what does the job look like for that?
For a systems engineer, so they manage a team.
Okay.
So in my brain, I was always going to manage some type of individual.
I was going to tell somebody what to do.
Yeah. In my brain, I was like, man.
Just like last week, we gonna manage.
Right. And so, and again, I don't think I even noticed, but even my dad showed up in that, because a systems engineer has to know a little bit about all the disciplines. So you have to take enough of all of the, and so like if you were going to be a mechanical, right, you're going to be very much in like statics and understanding materials and all of those things. But as a systems engineer, you want to know enough, but you don't need to be specific, because you're going to have a person that's going to be specific.
Sure. Okay.
And you are the person who's going to sit down and manage this whole team when you come together and talk about building this bridge or whatever, right?
Okay.
But yeah, once I completed my associates and then I transitioned to try to do UVA, that's when it was like those students had no understanding that I couldn't be at X, Y, and Z because I had a young child.
I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you? This isn't sort of a. Do you miss it, or do you find that you're fulfilling the parts of it that you were interested in a different way?
I'm just using it in a different way.
Is that right?
And I'm okay with it.
Really?
Yeah, that's why. And that's what I was saying. Like, that's why I was okay thinking about this executive director role, because I'm now looking at the whole system of the organization. How do we streamline it? How do we sustain it? How do we build capacity within it, within our team, all the things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I'm just doing it in a different manner with humans now, which is cool.
Yeah, I feel like people come out of school with a degree, and they're like, some people, especially me, I had a history degree, African American studies. I was like, dang, and people are like, all you can do with that degree is teach. So you gotta go get your doctorate and PhD and write a thesis. And I was like, I don't know about that. I'm pretty much done with this. I'm out of here. But then I got into the nonprofit space, and I was like, that's okay. I don't need to use a degree. I'll just sell some stuff. I don't know. So, and then I was like, actually, I use my degree every day. I get to work with diverse populations of clients and our community, and all of the context learned from my African American Studies degree and about how our communities work and function systemically.
What were you going to do?
I didn't have no ideas. You mean when I graduated?
Yeah.
I spent like 3 months in the summertime acting like I was going back to but like I graduated in May, and like the last 4 years I had 3 months of summer, and then I was going to go back to school. Sure. So I was on summer vacation. I didn't even know I was supposed to be looking for no job.
You were going to start something in August. It was just August was going to come around, and like
I graduated and I was like, okay, well, it's summer break. I didn't have no ideas because people had. I don't know job. I was trying to get a job.
When people asked you what you were going to do with your degrees, what did you say? What were you going to do?
I'm not going to. I was lying.
You just did that? You
no.
Like,
I was lying for a little bit. I was lying for a little bit. Mama, I'm sorry. I was telling everybody I was going to go to law school.
Really?
Yeah.
Why'd you say it like that? Whatever.
I was never going to go. I was tired already. Yeah, told me I was going to. History is a really good law. Get into. I was like, not right now though, but like
not right now.
I graduated on, But then I was like, then I thought about, somebody was like, oh, you're a really good writer.
Okay.
And you should think about going get your master's in writing, creative writing. I did a lot of writing in college, like theater and poetry, and was a writing director and stuff like that. So I thought about going for writing, but I was just too tired. I was tired. I just wanted to get my degree and go.
Okay.
So I don't know. I didn't care her. And my mom she majored in Spanish when she was in college, and she doesn't use her degree. I had grown up realizing that you don't need your degree to get a job. They just need to see that you got a degree.
Okay.
Which is not good. But I want. So I was like, that's okay. I don't I don't care. I'll put down I got a history degree on the application, and then they'll be glad that I got a degree, a bachelor's, and I'll get a job.
For sure.
Because all skills are transferable, in my opinion. I don't care what the degree is necessarily. Like, I'll hire you even if this is the art department. You have a history degree. I think it's about transferable skills. How can you help our organization? Not necessarily what your degree does. So, I mean, if you're a doctor, if we want you to do some patient work,
There's some things I won't say anything. I was just
there are some professions that I want your degree to make sense.
My orthopedic surgeon has a degree in urban planning.
No,
I'm not going to see that guy.
That's what I said. That's the one. There are some things that I want my person to have a degree in. The doctors, even the lawyers. I would like. They need to have their law
degree. Should have gone to law school. Yeah.
But overall, it's just so transferable. I'm looking for people skills. It's like. So I had no idea. I'm here by the grace of God and luck and the skin of my teeth.
I can feel that.
Yeah. Somebody called me during my summer break. The last summer break I would ever really have.
Your fake summer break.
My fake summer break. I graduated. I was going to the pool. I went to the beach a couple times. And then somebody called me and was like, hey, have you found a job yet? I said, no. They said, oh, well, UVA's looking for somebody to do, they're looking for a young alumni to do some work. I said, great. They sent me the application.
Great.
I filled it out, went to all the interview as they do. And they gave me the job. And that was my intro to development. And then after I was there for a year or two, a year, it wasn't two, a year, COVID happened too in that middle of that. I was then able to use the skills that I learned in the development fundraising way to get another job at the United Way. This was 5 years ago now. So
you've been there that long?
Yeah, I've been here for over 4 years. Crazy. Ooh. I was a child. I mean, I was 22.
I was a child.
I think I was 22. I was a child.
We watch you grow up.
You know. My boss says it all the time. When I first started, she would be like, she's gonna listen to this. She always used to say, when I used to leave work at the end of the day, be careful driving home.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I know. And one person when I first started,
a baby,
and I was like, and one of the
I mean, there was only like 8 of us. You were the youngest person in there.
He used to work with us. Yeah, and
they kicked me out.
Somebody used to.
I can't.
They all stay for the record. But and one of them was like, "Can you drink?" We were at a holiday party. Can you drink? I was like, "Yeah, I can drink." So I've been there 5 years.
Wow.
But yeah, all that to say is I fell into it, and now I get to continue doing it and have a good time.
I love it.
So we skipped like the most important part of this entire story. Tell us what Georgia's Friends is, and tell us what it does, and we'll dig into that a little bit.
All right, sure. So we support women in early recovery from substance use disorder. It's typically bed-to-bed transfer from an inpatient treatment facility, so like a 30, 60, or 90-day program.
Okay.
Or incarceration. And some lateral moves from like the Oxford House or other recovery residences. And so individuals can stay 6 months minimally or up to 2 years.
Wow.
For a very low cost.
Yeah.
So it's like $100 per month for the first 6 months. It incrementally increases after that. But we just want to make sure, and it caps out the second year like $350 per month. So it's still relatively affordable. But we just want to make sure finances is not a barrier for individuals trying to, identify how to grow in their recovery.
Right.
So yeah, we can serve up to, technically we're certified through the Virginia Association of Recovery Residences. We can serve up to 12 women based off of the certification, but we try to cap it like 10 or 11.
Okay.
Just because the space gets real crunched after that.
Okay.
So I think, it's been interesting to watch the program evolve. When I got there, I really worked hard to make sure we had more individualized programming. So women can now meet with the program staff to really have like specific recovery plans that work for them.
Sure.
So the program was built initially, the organization, so the legacy is a lady named Georgia, who is local. She was local, and she was challenged by alcoholism and had navigated some challenges through that, and from that ended up committing suicide. And so a circle of her friends and family kind of came together and was like, let's put something together so that women can have a support when they're trying to navigate recovery. And to be fair, so nonprofit status was established in 2009, and the founding individuals traveled all over the country to learn about recovery residences and what that looked like. And so our first recovery residence was in the Woollen Mills area.
Yeah.
And we opened in 2015. Our first woman was admitted on September 6th. So we're about to hit that 10-year mark. So super excited. We've served close to 200, it's like 195 women at this point.
Yeah.
29,000, close to 29,000 safe bed nights.
Yeah. Give me that number one more time. How many women?
195.
So I'm always interested in our conversation, Beth. We talk about this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That is not a big number. Mm-hmm. It is a tremendous undertaking, right? Mm-hmm. Do you find, like, how do you find when you, because you explained two very different things and you did it two very different ways. Mm-hmm. You gave me a small number. Mm-hmm. You gave me a big number.
A huge number. I like that number.
Right. I would argue that while this one seems bigger and flashier, even though that one is much smaller,
correct.
It's like people don't understand the depth of what goes into.
It takes a lot.
Because people will go, oh, it's only 200 people.
Correct.
Right?
That's a lot of people.
Correct. When the capacity is like 10 or 11 women, right?
But also, what does it take for one?
That's correct.
Right.
But we typically serve means they could be there for a few days even.
Yeah,
right?
what is, so people can come and go?
So it's not necessarily that they come and go. So there's a few things that happen. We do a full admissions process, and if they are accepted and admitted, then they come, and they may find like it's too much structure. And they don't like it.
Okay.
And so they're like, I can't do this. In my first 30 days, like, I can't do this. I want to go.
Okay.
We may see that they're not as committed to their recovery, or it's just not, they don't do group living well.
Sure.
You know? And so then it's
sure.
like, we got to transition you on.
Okay.
And so, and then there are individuals who stay. And then unfortunately, there might be a reoccurrence of use, right? So there are several ways how people end up not graduating, quote unquote, is what we call it.
Okay.
But on average, we serve like 20 to 25 people a year.
Yeah.
And out of that, we probably graduate four to five people.
Yeah, sure.
With the improvements that we have put in place for the program, we've already graduated 3 and planning a 4th by like August 1.
Yeah.
So
That's today.
we're making, So, look, I was going to say.
Made even worse by, this is airing on Saturday, by the way. So it's Saturday. So it actually, to be fair to you, will be August 2nd. It is now August 2nd.
You're just ahead
when
of the game.
people are listening to this. So you had a whole Back to the Future thing going on today.
I love that.
Marty, we done it.
That's exactly right. Does that make you Doc Brown?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, the ability for you to like just pull this stuff from these shows and movies is phenomenal. Like, that's amazing.
It'd be like a whole Cash Cab experience. You would do well on Cash Cab.
I used to love me some Cash Cab.
I think so.
I bet you were answering all the questions.
I
think so.
And me and my dad. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you didn't know that.
If you stop right here, you can get out. Take your money and go. You don't know nothing. I saw you missed them last 2 questions.
Yeah, but then you're uptown somewhere, 140 and 12th. Like, you can't get out here.
Don't care.
You can't get out
You can get
there.
you a cab for half the price.
That's
on the way back.
$80 to get back to where you went. You can't
You
be
gonna
doing
still
that in
come
New York
out on
City.
top.
So how do you feel about, so I'd love to hear your take on this as now someone who is fundraising, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what do we love? We love 2 things that you are not providing. Instant gratification and big numbers, right?
Yeah.
How do you talk about that? How do you tell that story, right? And how do you keep yourself from falling into the trap that I have argued privately and publicly a lot of nonprofits fall into, which is not fabricating is the wrong word because it's not disingenuous, but you pick the thing that sounds the best,
sure,
which is not necessarily true, but is it a demonstration of impact? I would argue that working with 10, 20 women a year, getting 4 across the finish line, while if you don't know what goes into it, can be like, what are y'all doing, right?
No,
how do you get over that hump, right? And how do you tell that story to folks who either you want to be involved in the program or obviously, as is the nature of the business, you're looking for resources from?
Yeah, I think part of it is just in a snapshot way, educating them about recovery itself. Mm-hmm. Like,
that's true.
There's such a lack of understanding. Like, it's like, oh, somebody can just quit doing X, Y, and Z, right? And I think understanding addiction is not just drugs, man. Like, people shop too much, people eat too much, like. And so working on that stigma, right, in a very strategic manner, right? Like, and so, but giving some of that understanding around, like, what do we do? What do we do programmatically? How do we help them? Like, we're talking about individuals who have sometimes used for decades, who don't know how to navigate emotions in a sober mindset. And now all of a sudden their boss is told to giving them negative feedback. And so now they come home and they're spiraling, and usually they would go use or drink or right. And so I just kind of I have a person in mind, like a graduate.
Sure.
And I just give their profile with non-identifying factors,
sure.
but like giving their profile and sharing like their story. How many people have been reunified with their children? I do think, yes. So I actually had this conversation with our interim executive director when he was there, and I said, I think what people miss is numbers don't mean everything, right?
They don't mean everything.
So while we say like 195 doesn't sound like much, sure, but I'd rather have 195 and 50% of them graduate than have 75 million and only 2% graduate.
Exactly.
Like, it's not, I mean, I want to see women in long-term sustainable recovery and not just they graduate and they're done and we had no impact on their life. And so I think that's what I try to typically focus on when I have those conversations, for sure.
Would you argue that the system as it stands incentivizes that, or how are you finding that you've entered into my cynical vortex? But I'm only saying that because I hear you, right? But the argument then, you start to play that numbers game because that's how the money flows.
Absolutely.
Right? So how do you anchor yourself to that in an environment and in a context that may not necessarily incentivize said line of thought?
No, I think it's first, I think one of the benefits I currently have is a lot of our donor population is very personal.
Sure.
So they are connected with our board members, or they have some personal connection with recovery.
Right.
And so that really alleviates a lot of weight and stress. A lot of our fundraising happens at one specific event called Walk a Mile, and we typically generate at least 75% of our operating budget from that one event. And so, and those individuals are typically invited by board member, right? Like, sure. So I think that allows me to have a different relationship in these conversations. Now, on the grant side,
sure.
That's a little different. The
sure.
grant side, I'm going to play on those numbers,
right?
Like, because you
29,000 bed hours are days, hours a day.
Days, man.
It's
chill out.
29,000 is a number that anybody hear that number, I was like, dang, 29,000.
Yeah, no.
I was like, that's good.
Yeah, those are safe bed nights, and so what that means is we literally offered a safe haven for one night for a woman.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of bed nights we've provided, even though there's not been as many women who have graduated or whatever, right? It has been one night that's been provided to a woman who didn't have the focus on using, drinking, or just life.
Absolutely.
Because being in recovery and sustaining it is impacted by so many things. Like, somebody could be in recovery for 10, 20 years and lose their job, their spouse leaves them, and life as they know it changes. And that could cause a reoccurrence of use. So safe bed nights is important because we think about Maslow's, right? The hierarchy of needs.
When you mentioned it, when you talk about recovery, does it run the gamut? Is it all substance abuse? Is it, what are the types of things that you guys are equipped to facilitate, and the depth of those? Because like you said, it could be someone who's been trying and has relapsed. Sort of what is it seems like it can go in two different directions, right? Sort of like the actual content of the recovery, whether it's substance abuse or alcohol or whatever, and then the depth of the need. Are you guys set up to facilitate kind of a variable nature of those things?
Yeah, so that's where the individualized recovery planning comes in. So we don't have any clinical staff on site. We utilize a lot of like Region 10 or on our own, right? Like all of these other supporting entities that can come in, and we're not reinventing the wheel, man.
Sure.
We just need to go to these locations, these organizations, and get the support. But I do think, so our biggest focus is alcoholism, and then obviously any actual like substances that are either illegal, or if they're legal, like Adderall or Vyvanse or something that someone abuses.
Yeah.
So that's really our pocket. But I think that the challenge really is, even if you're navigating and supporting individuals with that, sometimes there's still other things that pop up. So I can remember I've supported individuals who had challenges with drinking, but they also gambled a lot.
Whoops. Yeah, right.
And so how do you make sure you're able to support them? And so it's really just getting creative. We don't have to be the one with the answers. We got to find them the answer and find them the support. And that's what we do.
Okay.
It's not really we have a day program. We provide some internal support like financial literacy and coping skills, just the overall thing.
Yep.
But when it comes down to like specifics, if that's something that's specific within their recovery plan, we're going to find the answer and resource.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yeah. And I think, I just really want, especially our community, to really think about how we look at addiction. Like people, I mean, there's obviously traumas around like why we don't reach out for help, why we don't get medical support and all of those things. But I just feel frustrated because I think how many people are suffering in silence or are judged. And I'm just going to call a spade a spade. It's no different than somebody who can't imagine not playing their lottery numbers every day. Right? Like if somebody told you stop playing the lottery when you have played it every single day of your life since numbers came out, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Right.
Your head might explode. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's really, addiction is not one there's not just one side of it. It's multifaceted. So I encourage people to start having those conversations and just talk, like be a safe space, man. Like it's just wild.
So, can you speak to a little bit of some of the systemic barriers you've seen women face trying to get, clean from abuse of drugs or things in your field?
Yeah, so I think to start, there's way less support for women. If you look at even the Oxford houses, there's like 4 men's houses, I think, and only 2 women in this area.
In this area?
Yeah, alone. And we're the only women recovery residents outside of those Oxford houses in this space.
What are the demographics of addiction? Is it more men than it is women?
Why are you looking at me? You
No,
got,
you
the
kinda-
expert on the
No,
other
I
side.
know.
You're looking at
You
me
had
like
the
I know what's
computer.
going on.
As somebody looking
That's exactly what I'm alluding to. And so actually statistics show that women are more likely to experience reoccurrence of use, relapse, and not.
Is that right?
Yes.
That's interesting because they got 4 Oxford houses. Like that is an interesting stat to know.
Yeah, so women tend to struggle more. And part of that, if we really break it down, is because of motherhood. It's because of just, so many other stereotypical and stigmatizing things around, right? Like, and so I think there's just not enough light that is shined on that, and specifically around women of color. So I can speak even to like my organization. When I got there, we were serving like 75 to 85% is what I'll say, Caucasian women. And I'm like, y'all not going to tell me it's just white women out here on drugs. Like, you're not going to tell me that. So I had to do my digging. And a big barrier is treatment. Think about so
Because they weren't coming from a different bed.
If we require a bed-to-bed transfer,
Right. Those people haven't
meaning
gotten
they have to come from
treatment,
a treatment somewhere.
Okay.
and women of
Access
color,
to treatment costs money.
Listen,
they're not getting the treatment in the first
come
place.
on with it. Look, you got it. Look,
They're going untreated. They don't have a bed to come from the bed to bed.
Right.
come on with it. Keep going.
Right? Is that right?
I love that you connecting these.
So
Okay.
what is the first step? What is the first bed? Who might that be?
So the first step for me was to remove that.
No, like, is it...
Oh wait, hold on.
So
Well,
there are
that's two. So it's two
exceptions.
questions. It's 2 questions at once. So in this bed-to-bed transfer landscape, what
Is it
is the
from
first bed?
rehabs? Is it
Like
from
what is that
prisons?
first bed?
It could be rehab or prison, right?
Okay.
What I have done,
Okay.
and when I stepped in to do the program in admissions, I've made exceptions to that.
Right.
So you can be the first bed.
That's correct.
Got it.
That makes sense.
That's correct. But that wasn't the case, right, when I first got there. And so that was a big problem.
That's a barrier to entry.
The second thing for us locally, there's no close treatment facility.
Ooh, what's the closest one, do you know?
Women we get typically are from Winchester, Salem, Roanoke,
Good.
Tyrone.
Wow.
So if you
We
think
learning
about the
something.
I-81 corridor, if you think about Harrisonburg, all of that, right? Winchester, and then you think about there's some like detox. There's some things in Richmond. Don't get me wrong.
The next
But
bed is 1,000 miles away.
there you go. There you go.
First
So
bed.
now you're asking a woman who likely has children to leave her children.
Go 100 miles and then come back 100 miles
There you
to
go.
get to the house.
Not the sigh. That's how I feel.
I just was laughing at her math.
Oh,
You went from
okay.
1,000 to 100 real
I
quick.
know,
You made it to
well.
Gary, Indiana, and then you came back to
Well, when I
Williamsburg.
said that, well, we'll have Jay take it out.
So how do you programmatically? You have to have some boundaries. How do you decide where those are? Right? How do you decide? Okay, so what is what is the thing you can't do, right? Given that you have to demonstrate you're doing something well. How do you work in that? You work very clearly, and I'm making this, very deep psychological assertion. I've known you for 45 minutes.
He does that.
Who cares about this? But in a human way, like you want this to work, and you want people to get better, and you have the ability to see someone, for what they can be, and not necessarily where they are circumstantially now. But how do you do that and also run a business, right? Because that has to come with some layer of, if you have limited resources, which we all have, how do you water 5 plants a lot instead of 10 plants a little bit, right? So how do you create, like, what is the boundary for you where you're like, look, we have to make some tough calls on what we can't do and who we can't work with right now in pursuit of the 6 people who we can, contextualized by, I would argue that you think everyone deserves a chance.
I think so. What I will say is we have a pretty good admissions process.
Okay.
So we interview people. So they'll submit an application and then they get on a Zoom. If they're incarcerated, maybe a phone call. And we assess their commitment to their recovery based off of the answers they give and just the vibe from it. So while I think everyone deserves a chance, because we do have we literally have 11 beds.
Yeah, that's right.
We can't, I mean, there's always a wait list.
This is competitive.
Yes, it is. It really is. And so that, I think, that's the first layer, right? Okay. The second layer is being on top of, so like now, I work closely with the program director to make sure we're paying attention to our demographics. There's a whole tracking sheet that she's in charge of making sure she's putting. And so that allows us to make sure we're trending in appropriate directions and not have, and it also helps us keep our own biases in check, which is really cool.
Interesting.
But what the biggest thing that I was thinking as you were asking that question was this. I remember when I first got there, I used to get so mad because I was like, man, we don't get any like federal funding, like talking about it. And we should be diversifying and we should be. And they used to always say to me, the reason we don't do that is because there's so much red tape, right?
Yeah, it's a nightmare. So
what happens, though, is now because we get so much more private funding, it allows us to not have to answer some of those hard questions you're talking about. And so while there's some downsides to that, right?
Sure.
But I do think it does create space for us to be able to have more control and say so over who we are supporting and not be under that microscope, of like, or magnifying glass of like what we are doing and not doing. Did that answer that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If you are just jumping in, I got you. This is Envision Radio from the 90 Wave Greater Charlottesville and City of Promise, News Radio 98.9, 1070 AM WINA. Price and Markey here with Kristina Smith, Executive Director of Georgia's Friends. And again, big thanks to our sponsor and friends, Jefferson School Foundation, jeffersonschoolfoundation.org. There you go.
Where do you hope to see the field of peer recovery and trauma-informed care involved in the next 5 to 10 years?
You know what's so funny about you? When you ask a question and you read it, your voice changes.
Well, I'm reading.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You have like a reading voice.
Well, now they know I read from a sheet.
So see, that's different. You didn't read that. See?
What do you want me to say?
I don't know. I just found it funny because we were talking about the whole Obama teleprompter thing, and it was funny that
I'm terrible on a teleprompter.
When you read it, you have your intro voice is very, very round.
Because I'm reading.
Welcome to it. Right? It's like a Julia Child kind of thing.
You know what?
And then you go off script, and you're just out there.
Well, I try to get to the script sometimes.
No answer the question. Because the whole script, I mean, we really have not been on that.
See, that's what I told you. Did we? How many? We ain't asked for 2 of the questions.
We kept to the vibe of the questions.
Okay, all right.
Okay, hold on. No.
I just asked one.
Thank you,
that's what I'm saying. You asked one. I think we're like one for 10.
Georgia's Friends.
This is not what I prepared for.
We literally talked.
Okay, we
literally talked about all this stuff. Look back on it.
We have talked about
that stuff.
No, we didn't. I didn't ask any. I haven't even looked at this thing. I read it last night and then I forgot to look at it again.
Well, I try. I like to tell a couple jokes, but I try to read. I'm reading it while we're going and saying, how do I, now that we're off course, autocorrect us? It's hard. Have you ever tried to get a car back on the road? It's hard.
Don't overcorrect. Don't swerve.
Because you have to wait till a word in one of these sentences gets said, and then I could do it.
That's how you end up swerving into oncoming traffic.
Thank you.
And I'm here for it.
I'm asking the question.
I hear it.
Okay. Where do you hope to see the field of peer recovery or trauma-informed care evolve in the next 5 to 10 years?
So I was thinking about this question. To be honest, I just want to see us in a place where we're not as impacted by high-level decisions. So we think about, and I think the whole world is impacted by administrative decisions right now, so I don't mean to act like it's just peer services. But I just hope that we can get creative in a way that we're able to self-sustain a little more, because I think that we've seen a big blow, you know what I'm saying, in the last few months even. And so that's number one. The other piece is just really just growing, just becoming unmovable, consistent, you know, and continuing to do the work with breaking down the stigma. It's been interesting to watch it morph and grow and you know, now like there are specific trainings that are tied to like being a peer recovery specialist. So you can also like do a forensic or supportive like the older population. And so like seeing it grow like that has been good because I think, you know, recovery is not cookie cutter. And so the more information people have, the better off we can be supporting individuals.
And I only have one more question. What does success look like to you, personally and professionally?
You're not going to talk. I was pumped about this trauma stuff, and I didn't get the first question about trauma, but we going to rock with this last question.
Put it in there.
What is that? Media Training 101? Answer the question you want, not the question you're asked?
Exactly. You know what? That's what you should do. That's what you should do.
No, because I know Jay will edit whatever he needs to edit. So I'm gonna answer the one that you asked, and I just hope he edits out all that.
Yeah, exactly right. You can just say whatever you want. We don't. There's no prep for the question. We don't even know what she was talking about. We're just out here talking about whatever.
All right. What does success look like for me personally and professionally? So personally, I just think it's being at peace. When the day closes out, knowing that I've done the best I could with what I had. Given the best input I could and having the best outcomes that I could throughout the day. Life has been interesting in the last year. A lot has changed for me personally, and not all in great ways. And so it's been interesting to really have a more relative perspective in that. So yeah, just being at peace, knowing I can go to sleep at night. That's my goal in this moment. And then professionally, I just think it's been interesting to watch me end up at tables that I, at one point in my life, never thought I would be sitting at. It's wild. And it's like, because I used to say all the time, like, I'm going to just build my own table then. You know?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, we see, you know, you can build your own tables for sure, but I think there's still some societal pressures that impact that table no matter what. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's just been just to continue to show up as myself authentically and in a successful manner.
Today, executive director of Georgia's Friends. Next week, the president.
Slow down. Slow down.
That's a busy week.
Woo!
What does growth organizationally look like for you? Is it being able to serve more people? Do you not feel like you have reached a depth of service with the people you are working with? Is it more staff? I mean, you're at that place now where you have to, it becomes a game of priorities, right? So if we say that, let's say we talk again this time next year, so you got a year under your belt, right? Like, what is the priority? Is it bulk up the staff? Is it add? I mean, because there is this whole geographical constraint, right? Are you punting around for another place, for more beds? What's the biggest box to check on your list?
So I think, you know, especially as we start like strategic planning and looking at our 10-year campaign and stuff, you know, one of the things that I think is important is serve more women. We currently only have 11 beds, and there's no reason why we can't have more. We are doing this really well. So now let's duplicate, right? And so I think figuring out what that looks like, so that would increase staff somewhat. I think, you know, I'd already been kind of on that trajectory, even when I was the program director, like having those conversations and figuring out how that infrastructure would look like. So a lot of that legwork is done. It's just kind of executing some of those pieces. And then, yes, we are looking for other places, but I think there's so much that goes into that. So we aren't necessarily looking to buy, because there's a lot of buildings and grounds that we already are navigating in the property that we have. Okay. So we have a house on Ridge Street, and then our office is right behind on Dice. Okay. And so just buildings and grounds for those two properties takes almost a full-time position. And so we don't necessarily want that. But I think, thinking about a space to rent, but then you deal with, it has to be somewhere where individuals can utilize the bus line. It needs to be in a space that's not, that's just conducive and supportive of their recovery. For sure. We've had potential partnerships, but it's like you could have this house or this location where it's kind of clearly drug infested area. Like, we can't, it just wouldn't make sense. It just wouldn't make sense. And so just thinking about geographic location and all those pieces and enough bathrooms. Because women
that is the real problem.
Listen, women need, the way they will fight. We're good right now because we have almost as many bathrooms as bedrooms in that house. So we're good. But I would like that same similar setup.
Yeah.
If we could.
Sure.
If people wanted to learn more about your organization, what y'all are up to, want to help out, where should they go to get more information and get in contact with you? So
we are on social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram, our handle has Seville on the end, so it's Georgia's Friends Seville. Our website is georgiasfriends.org. I encourage people to go there, subscribe to our newsletter. We send out stuff, intermittently around what's going on. I think it'll be good for people to kind of get in the loop because I'm super excited about the 10-year campaign and the things we're starting to unroll. So big news likely coming in the next several months. So getting in the know there. And there's also information about, how to donate, how to volunteer. I mean, any capacity that people would like to serve and support us, we are open to. So check out our website. And obviously, through our website, you can email us as well.
That is Kristina Smith, Executive Director of Georgia's Friends. What was it? Self-proclaimed lover of systems engineering.
And couldn't you tell?
I got it.
Couldn't you tell that you're a lover of systems engineering?
It showed up.
You did.
It did?
Yes.
Oh, man.
All of this is systems building.
Yeah. And much like the rest of us, still trying to figure out what all the schools are named locally. If you have ideas for the show or want to get in touch with us, check us out on social media at United Way Seville, at City of Promise. Drop us a note, envision at unitedwayseville.org. What's that social media handle one more time? Georgia's Friends Seville? Georgia's Friends Seville. And make sure you check them out at www.georgiasfriends.org. We get support on the show from all of you and folks at the United Way. And if you like what you hear, share it with your friends. Subscribe on your favorite podcast platform for new episodes every week. And again, best way to support us is make a contribution to City of Promise, United Way Greater Charlottesville, Georgia's Friends, or the other wonderful nonprofits here in town. We'll be out and about. Bad Black Business Gala, Sola Seville, this, that, and the third. We'll be popping around.
You'll see us.
Bunch of stuff. You'll see us.
You'll finally see us.
You'll hear us before you see us. You'll finally see us.
We're becoming visual people. We're gonna have the audio. We're gonna have the video now, just audio.
That's right. We are expanding our horizons. We'll figure out this show note thing at some point. But again, big thanks to our sponsor, Jefferson School Foundation, jeffersonschoolfoundation.org. For Kristina and Marky, this is Price. Stay cool. We will see you next week.
Peace.